Glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinate. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Paschacharya Sutarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we continue reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text 51, right? Text 51. Please repeat after me. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Idhanim Asmi Samvrita. Idhanim Asmi Samvrita. Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Idanim Asmi Samvrita. Idanim Asmi Samvrita. Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Idanim Asmi Samvrita. Idanim Asmi Samvrita. Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Idanim Asmi Samvrita. Idanim Asmi Samvrita. Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Drisvedam Manusam Rupam. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Tapasamyam Janardhana. Idanim Asmi Samvrita. Idanim Asmi Samvrita. Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Mataji.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Drisvedam Manusam Rupam.
Drisvedam Manusam Rupam.
Tapasamyam Janardhana.
Tapasamyam Janardhana.
Idanim Asmi Samvrita.
Idanim Asmi Samvrita.
Sacheta Prakritim Gata.
Sacheta Prakritim Gata. Somebody else? Mataji? That's it? Word for word. Meaning, Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna said. Arjuna said. Drishva. Drishva. Seeing. Seeing. Idam. Idam. This. Manusham. Human. Rupam, form, Tava, your, Saumyam, very beautiful, Janardhana, O chastiser of the enemies, Idhanim, now, Asmi, I am, Samvritaha, settled, Sacheta, in my consciousness, Prakritim, to my own nature, Gataha, returned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, "O Janardhana, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature." Everybody also please repeat. When Arjuna saw Krishna, in his original form, he said, "O Janardhana, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature." Purport. Here the words Manusham, Rupam clearly indicate the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be originally two-handed. Those who deride Krishna as if he were an ordinary person are shown here to be ignorant of his divine nature. If Krishna is like an ordinary human being, then how is it possible for him to show the universal form, and again to show the four-handed Narayan form? So, it is very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita that one who thinks that Krishna is an ordinary person and who misguides the reader for claiming that it is the impersonal Brahman within Krishna speaking is doing the greatest injustice. Krishna has actually shown his universal form and his four-handed Vishnu form. So how can he be an ordinary human being? A pure devotee is not confused by misguiding commentaries and Bhagavad Gita, because he knows what is what. The original verses of Bhagavad Gita are as clear as the sun. They do not require lamplight from foolish commentators. Thus ends the purport. Chapter 11, text 51, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Jita Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sakana Lalita Shri Vishakantitam Shah. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kipasindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Arjuna Uvacha Disvedam Manusam Rupam Taba Samyang Janardhana Idanim Asmi Samrita Sacheta Prakritim Gata. So once again, Lord Krishna manifests his original form, two-armed form, the human-like form, to Arjuna. And previous to this, before this, the four-armed form, and before that, the universal form. Arjuna wanted to see this, as we mentioned earlier. He wanted to see this, not for his own benefit, but for the benefit of those who are antagonistic or who doesn't accept Krishna's position as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Manusam Rupam, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that this is the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Human form, like form. Those who are in the mode of ignorance and mode of passion, they conclude that the Supreme Lord doesn't have any form, that He is formless, Nirakar. And that is true. In the Veda says He doesn't have a form, not like our form. His form is Satchit Ananda. As Lord Brahma prays, Isvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karna Karanam. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Isvara, Supreme Proprietor. But his Vigraha, Artha Vigraha, this form that He manifests, is full of knowledge, it's eternal, and it's full of bliss. Sat is eternal, Chit full of knowledge, and Ananda, full to the highest limit. Unlike our form, it's full of ignorance because it's made of matter. This body, this material body, is full of ignorance, it's temporary, and it's full of miseries. We're always unhappy. Prabhupada says, he gave the meaning of happiness. Happiness means being freed from the cycle of repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. Krishna's body is not bound by the modes of material nature. His body is not that, he gets old, or he gets disease, or he gets headache. Well, sometimes he got headache, just to get the blessings from his pure devotees' dust, as we mentioned earlier, also in the class, the Bhagavatam, that he takes the dust from the lotus feet of his pure devotees. So Krishna has this original form. Anadir Adir Govinda. He has unlimited form also. Advaitam Achutam. Anadir Navayovanam. He's always fresh, he's always young. And somehow there's still many people who deride Krishna, saying that, oh, how can he have form? If he's God, then he should not have a form. But Prabhupada gave an example though that we have form. So naturally, where we came from, whom we come from, also must have a form. It'll be an insult if I tell you that your father doesn't exist or he doesn't have a form. But how come you have a form now? To conclude that we came from nothing is absurd. It doesn't make sense. Yes, Krishna's body is transcendental. It says in the Shastras that Krishna doesn't have arms, but is ready to accept the offerings of his devotees. He doesn't have legs, but he can outrun anybody. He's present in Goloka Vrindavan, but yet he's present also at the same time in all the three worlds, in all of his creation, material and spiritual world. That's why it's very difficult to capture Krishna at the same time. He is within us, but at the same time, it's very difficult to reach him. Atashi Krishna Namadi Nabhavat Graham Indriyai Seven Mukhi Jivano Swayam Eva Spuratyada. This is mentioned in the Padma Purana. That Krishna's name, his fame, his form, his qualities, his pastime is very difficult to understand with his blunt senses. Even though Krishna is already within our heart is compared to Vrindavan also. Because Krishna resides there in his localized aspect, it's Paramatma. But at the same time, how many realize that Krishna actually is there? Only his devotees. The yogis, they try to capture him by meditating on the Paramatma feature. But for the devotees who understands the nature of the Supreme Absolute Truth as being a person, they can see Krishna within their heart. Right now, with our senses, with our eyes, we cannot see Krishna. We have to see Krishna through our ears. This is the way how we can see Krishna at the moment. Not possible by eyes, because these eyes can be deceiving. It's like the sun. We see the sun very small. It's 93 million miles away, but it's much bigger than the planet Earth. And the moon is considered as higher or further than the sun. But when we see, it looks like the moon can be easily reached. So the Supreme Lord is like this. No one can see him. No one can demand, oh yes, I want to. If you are present, if you really have a form, then show me yourself right now. They will ask Prabhupada, show me God. He can tell you, can show God. Yes, we can show you God. But then you have to purify your senses. Seven Mukhi Jivado, especially the tongue. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, is the most difficult to control. It's very voracious, the tongue. That's why, by uttering the names of the Supreme Lord, who is none other than the Supreme Lord himself, then we will realize, ultimately, those who demand they want to see God, it's like nighttime. They're foolish. Nighttime, and they have a torch. Prabhupada gave an example. They have a torch. And sun, show yourself right now with a torch. And the sun will not come because it's nighttime. Especially even if you have the biggest torch. The sun will come out of its own accord. It's like, you know, the farmers, they have this almanac, right? The farmers have almanac. They write the seasonal changes, and exactly throughout the whole year they can tell what time the sun rises and the sun sets. You cannot change that. So similarly, the scripture mentions how the process to realize and see God face to face. So when one becomes more and more purified, then he'll understand that yes, God has a form and God does not have a form simultaneously. This is the understanding of the Vaishnavas. We don't disregard completely that God doesn't have a form. We accept that also, but that is not the highest realization of God or the absolute truth. Brahmeti, Brahmetni, Bhagavan iti Sabjata is mentioned in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. That real knowledge about the Supreme Absolute Truth is understanding these three features or these three aspects of the Supreme Lord. The Brahman means, we've mentioned that earlier. Also, the effulgence, the bodily effulgence of the Supreme Lord. There is no activities. That is the problem there. That those who wants to merge into Brahman, they find it not very interesting after some time. Because there's no activities. There's light. The effulgence coming from the body of the Supreme Lord. The Brahma Jyoti, specifically, the spiritual world is lighted with this bright effulgence from the body of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, who is in Goloka Vrindavan. This light emanates from his body and it goes up to the material world. The sunshine reflection. Then there is a localized aspect, the Paramatma, who is present in everyone's heart and who is also present in even every atom and in between the atom. Krishna is present everywhere. In the material world. And the spiritual world is known in the Paramatma. Krishna is present there as Bhagavan, as his personal aspect. So, many people, especially in India, they're being misguided. India has a factory of God, or gods. Every day there is a God being born in India. One over here, one over there, from behind, in the front, all the sides. Because they want to be cheated, so there are so many cheaters. And then because they're not being guided properly. That's the main fault there. Prabhupada says, if you want to know gold, then you have to know what is gold. And sometimes they say, oh, this is Chinese gold, this is Italian gold, right? Or Indian gold. But gold is gold. If it's 24 karat gold, which is the pure substance of gold, the highest quality of gold can find, 24 They have Swiss gold also. Fine Swiss gold, they say it like that. Yes. But gold is gold. Sun is sun. You don't call it Indian sun or American sun or Filipino sun. There's always only one sun. So God is always God. It's not that one can become God at any moment. Krishna is not like that. He did not perform any so-called austerities or sacrifice. No. He's God from the beginning, even before taking birth, the time of birth, four-armed form. Again, Lord Krishna manifests himself as a four-armed form. But that form is not Narayan, that is Krishna also. Actually, there is no difference between Narayan and Krishna. They're equal. The only difference is the feature. Narayan or Vishnu has four-armed form and Krishna has two-armed form. What makes difference between Krishna and Narayan is that Krishna has four more other qualities that no one has. That's why he is Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. His pastimes are very sweet. He's always surrounded by his devotees. He plays the flute. Especially he has this special loving relationship with the gopis. That what made Krishna very special. Nobody else. Narayan does not have that. Narayan doesn't play flute. He has a club. He has a disc. He has lotus flower. He has chakra. Right? Lord Balaram also has a plow. Because this is the service that they perform. They're in the Vaishya community. So anyone who thinks that Krishna is an ordinary person is called a Muda. He's a fool, he's a rascal. It says in the Bhagavad Gita. Namam duskritano mudha prapadyante naradhama maya pritagyana manasim asurim asrita. There are four kinds who deride the existence, who doesn't understand the nature of the Supreme Absolute Truth, one whose knowledge has been taken away. Asuras, demoniac personalities, they consider Krishna or Vishnu as an ordinary person, being bound also by the modes of material nature. But no, only devotees can understand Lord Krishna or his expansions, his avatars. Krishna, he accepts as a person, he accepts the offerings of his devotees. And because he is full, he does not, when he eats our offering, it still remains there. Unlike us, when we eat, everything is gone. Nothing remains. But Krishna is so merciful that he leaves the remnants. And we can tell the difference when we offer something to Krishna. If you have something which is not offered to Krishna, the taste is different. That's why when people ask, hey, what did you put in this food? Something tastes different here. Oh, what extra recipe did you put in here? That recipe is that love, that bhakti of the devotee, the devotion has been added to that. Nothing else. Everything is the same. All the spices the same. The timing when it's going to be cooked, they're all the same. But when we offer things to Krishna, And Krishna relished so much that he's not so, so greedy that he will take everything. Of course, there was a story of Raghunandan Das Thakur, the young boy who was told by his father to offer, because this is what we've been doing for many years. Our generations before has been offering foodstuffs to our Gopinath. So you please do the same thing. And young Raghunandan, out of innocence, he was offering foodstuffs because he considered the deity none different than Krishna as a person. And he wanted to be sure that Gopal will actually eat the offerings. And because of the love and innocence of Raghunandan, he actually, not just by Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittamanti, that the senses of the Lord they're all interchangeable, so he can eat just by his eyes. And he wanted to be sure that actually Raghunandan will not be scolded, because Raghunandan says, I'll be finished. I'll get really like, reprimanded if you don't eat. So Gopal ate the laddu. And when he told this to his father, Mukunda Das, he was not believing him. So Krishna actually eats the love. He takes the love from his devotee. And this is person. Krishna is a person, so devotee is also naturally is a person. So we have to be personal as well in our dealings with each other. Not just dealing with the Lord. In the neophyte stage, you only see the Lord and yourself. This is neophyte. The Madhyam platform, he sees the Lord, he sees himself, he sees the envious, and he sees the devotees, and also he sees those who need to be given compassion or help. So, in due course of our advancement in Krishna consciousness, we also can become more personal in our dealings, not just with the Supreme Lord, but each and everyone, with the devotees and non-devotees as well. And this is very important. You can see an advanced devotee in this way. Not just caring for the Supreme Lord, but not caring for his devotees. Then Krishna does not like this. Krishna may not accept our offering if we are not caring towards other devotees. Krishna will accept more our offering if he understands or he knows that we also are being personal with his devotees. We have to understand this. So Arjuna is a pure devotee, but he was put into some kind of a confusion, not knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the difference. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yasoda, Gopis and Gopas, they know Krishna only as their most lovable object. They don't know Krishna is God. It doesn't matter. Prabhupada says, we should not try to understand more Krishna, because it's not possible to understand Krishna. It is better we try to develop our love for Krishna. In this way, we'll be able to understand Krishna. And still, it doesn't matter whether Krishna is God or not. Most important thing is how we develop our love for Krishna. And love, according to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, starts from hearing and chanting. This is the start of love. One develops love towards the Supreme Lord by hearing and chanting. That's why of all the 9 processes of devotional service, hearing and chanting is most important. Every other limbs of devotional service or practices, the 9 processes, without hearing and chanting is not complete. Hearing and chanting must always be there. It doesn't matter how externally it may look like what is our offering towards Krishna, but if our hearing and chanting is not there, then it is a little bit shallow or hollow or vacuum. Externally it may look nice, but if it's not done with hearing and chanting, which is more important, then it is not complete. So we have to put more emphasis on hearing and chanting, especially those of you who are here in Vrindavan for a short period of time. You should take advantage. Many devotees ask me, Maharaj, give me some service. I have free time. I says, you can do some service here, but I think the best thing is you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as much as possible while you are here. Because the effect of the hearing and chanting in the holy Dham is multiplied thousands and times more than when you do it outside. 1,000 times. And we cannot overemphasize this hearing and chanting in the holy Dham. It's so precious to be in the holy Dham. We can actually feel the presence of the Supreme Lord in the holy Dham. Our realization of the Supreme Lord is is quicker to understand, becomes quicker to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the Supreme Lord is a person, that He reciprocates actually. Many things that happens in the Holy Dham, immediately you can say, oh, Krishna, it's because of Krishna. Unforeseen things happens and you just realize, oh, this is Krishna's arrangement. You understand immediately that, oh, because Krishna is in charge. Devotees can understand this very easily. So, the original verses of the Bhagavad Gita are as clear as the sun. They do not require lamplight from foolish commentators. Many commentators, they said that we should worship the person within Krishna. For Krishna, there is no difference between himself, the body, the transcendental form, and the person within Krishna. There's no difference, because it's one and the same. There's no difference. Unlike us, there's a difference between the body and the soul. So the person Krishna and the personality Krishna, there's no difference. The person who actually Krishna is absolute, supreme absolute. So there is one commentator, Bhagavad Gita, yes, we should worship the person who is within Krishna. There is no other than Krishna himself. He is distinguishing the personality who is inside Krishna than the form Krishna. There is no difference. And this two-armed form is the most relishable, especially the sweetest is this childhood pastimes of the Supreme Lord with Mother Yashoda. This is the sweetest. to hear these pastimes. Even though it says the topmost is with the gopis, but for relishing the pastimes is because we can relate more with the mother and child relationship. The one that Krishna, he performed 5,000 years ago along with his cowherd boyfriends, pasturing the cows in the fields of Vrindavan, killing 2 or 3 demons every day for 11 years before going to Mathura. Then later on marrying 16,108 wives in Dwarka and having grandchildren with each wife, having 10 sons, and then those 10 sons having another 10 sons. But the sweetest of all them is this pastime with Mother Yasoda. His baby Krishna. So, process is 7 mukhi hijivado. We have to purify our senses, starting with the tongue. As Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, if the tongue is controlled, the belly is controlled, and genital is controlled. If those 3 are controlled, mind will be controlled. Mind will be controlled, then you become peaceful. If you're peaceful, then you become happy. If you're happy, then you're in Krishna consciousness. So we stop here. Any questions?
Thank you very much. You mentioned occasionally people come to you and ask you for service, and very correctly you say that the best service to do in Vrindavan, especially since most people only come for a short time,
very short,
is for hearing and chanting. But as we heard yesterday, Bhagavad Gita class, Krishna has a very soft spot for those who preach his message. And in Vrindavan temple, you'll find thousands of people coming all day long.
Yes.
And they would like nothing better than to see our visiting devotees and speak with them and hear them, even to just say Hare Krishna, and speak a few words and to make them feel welcome, and perhaps if they have some time to hear something.
Sure.
In a capsule form.
Sure. Definitely. We have this.
We have many campus preaching programs here.
Yes,
preaching. You can make your own hours. Just meet the people as they come in. If you're white, all you have to do is stand still for 1 minute, and you'll have 15 people.
When you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, also, then they come automatically to you. When you dance, they actually it attracts people. Then you start a little bit of preaching. That's definitely true. Side by side.
And then you get the fruit of your chanting.
Yes. Side by side. Agreed.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, you mentioned that the pastime with Mother Yasoda is really very sweet. Can you mention one leela which really touched you?
The binding of Krishna on the wooden grinding mortar. Krishna played like he became very, very frightened. Like just an ordinary boy who did mischief. To show that actually he can only be conquered by love from his devotees. No one can bind the Supreme Lord. You've seen in India, children, they have this, black string around their waist. This is like for protection. Mother Yasoda cannot bind Krishna. She collected all the ropes in Vrindavan, not just the house, their house, also the neighboring gopis. And still, she collected all the ropes, all the grudge. They still cannot. He was frightened. He was running away. Mother Yasoda actually wanted to bind him because she's afraid that he will go to the forest and just be with the monkeys and some wild animals. So she doesn't want that to happen. Mother Yasoda always being given complaint by the elderly gopis about Krishna stealing butter, yogurt from the neighboring gopis' house. And Mother Yasoda was very surprised. They have 900,000 cows, and she chose the best 10 cows, the black cows especially, who can give the best milk and being turned into butter and yogurt. And she was surprised. How is it Krishna is not liking my yogurt and butter? So Krishna will only did this mischief and stealing just so that the gopis will have something to talk about. Because when they talk about Krishna, then that is Krishna consciousness. Krishna will go in the middle of the night also to go dance with the gopis. And Krishna also, when he comes back, Mother Yasoda is thinking that Krishna didn't go out with his rendezvous in the middle of the night. She will be still thinking that Krishna is more closer to Mother Yasoda than Nanda Maharaj. Even before giving birth to Krishna, Krishna is already with Mother Yasoda for a long time. She's always worried whether Krishna is eating his lunch or not. Every day, Krishna will have tiffin box. All the gopas will have tiffin boxes, and Krishna, they will eat, but at the same time they don't want to go home. Mother Rohini will be sent by Mother Yasoda to be fetched, to come back, but they will not come with Mother Rohini. Even on the way out, going for pasturing, Mother Yasoda will be there. She doesn't want to let Krishna lost from her sight. She's so worried, and that worry is actually that love. And Prabhupada gave many examples that, the best example of how we can understand what love means is that love of the mother towards the child, just like Mother Yasoda. But Mother Yasoda is no lesser than Radharani. Radharani is just more intimate in a sense, because they have these pastimes where others cannot come, cannot go. But one time Lord Shiva became a gopi also. He changed his body to become a gopi. But Lakshmi Devi did not, because Lakshmi Devi doesn't want to change her body. She wants to remain as Lakshmi. So these different pastimes gives us attraction. That is the main purpose why Krishna came to the material world, and to exhibit his loving relationship, pastimes with his devotees, not to kill the demons, not to protect the devotees, but yes, protect devotees, paritanaya sadhunam vinasya chaduskritam, but mainly to attract the conditioned souls like us to go and partake in this loving relationship with the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. No other reason. But we have to be guided accordingly, and the spiritual master, this is his duty. It's a thankless task. The duty of the Guru is to be sure that we go back home, back to Godhead. He took that responsibility out of love for Krishna. He shares the anxiety of Lord Krishna to save the conditioned souls to go back home, back to Godhead. Just like the love of the mother to the child. She will do anything and everything for the child. Even the food that she's going to eat, she will give that to the child, so that the child will get nourished. And this is what happens when the disciples, they make advancement. The Guru makes his happiness is so much. Actually, Guru wanted to have the disciples become greater than him, to see that the disciples are become greater than him in loving Krishna, in performing seva. This is what the Guru wants. And he's not envious. No, I'm gonna stop you from making progress more than me. No, he wants you to become more devoted to Krishna than himself. This is his humility, even though that will not happen. Because whatever advancement we have is always due to the mercy of Guru. We cannot surpass. No one can surpass. We cannot surpass our own Guru. But the Guru wants us to surpass him. So this is the love Mother Yasoda towards Krishna. She would always pray. She would always pray to Lord Narayan, to the demigods. She would say so many mantras before Krishna will go in the morning. She will bathe Krishna with Gaudang and Gauyuring for protection, because it's supposed to be dispel bad omens. She's thinking that Krishna needs protection, but she doesn't know that Krishna protects everyone. This is how love of Mother Yasoda towards Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can you take another one? Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hello. Hare Krishna. So when did Lord Krishna display his Vishwarupa Darshan? Kindly tell me. When did Lord Krishna display his Vishwarupa Darshan?
Many places. This is in the
First time.
Yeah, this is in the first time. It says here, the first time. But actually, he also displayed another universal form to Duryodhana before the war.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it is in verse 48 it is mentioned, this is the first time displayed to Arjuna.
But that is
not
partial.
correct.
But that is partial, not complete. Because when he showed to Duryodhana the universal form, it was not expressed there that Duryodhana goes inside the mouth, and Bhishma and Jayadratha and Karna. Otherwise, he will not be able to be convinced to join, to have Krishna on their side. If Krishna had shown that, forget it. He was given a chance, Duryodhana, a chance so that Krishna will be on their side. But Duryodhana is so much proud, so much ego. Just no, I don't need you. So it's partial. He showed also Mother Yasoda, universal form.
Twice.
Twice.
Partial.
Partial again, yes. cosmic man. He showed also to Advaita Acharya and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Probably in the Duryodhana assembly, Krishna was not there, so he could not see. But separately, he has displayed his visualization to Arjuna separately. But first time he displayed at Duryodhana assembly.
But not full. Not full. He can, according to situation, time and place, he can show accordingly. Like a doctor, an expert doctor, he can treat a patient accordingly, give the right amount of dosage so that the patient will not get killed, overdosed. Okay? Otherwise, Duryodhana will be like dead immediately. Then there's no Bhagavad Gita, no Mahabharata.
Could I ask?
Yes, sir. Is that okay with you? Yes?
You were saying about the pastime Mother Yashoda and Krishna. I was wondering, I want to ask, I heard that when the robe is bound, it's always 2 fingers short.
Yeah, too short.
And one sannyasi said one finger represents the mercy Lord and the other represents the Saranaket.
Yeah, the surrender of the surrender, yes. That's right. Yes. When Lord Krishna saw Mother Yasoda's perspiration coming and she's really having a hard time, then he gave up. So Krishna is sold out to his devotees' love. He becomes subjugated, he becomes subordinate, which means sometimes we say, and from the Shastra says that bhakti is greater than Krishna. The bhakti of the bhakta is greater than Bhagavan. BBB. Okay? Anything else? Oh, there's one more here.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Where are you from, Prabhu?
I'm from Wales.
Wales.
Okay. You were saying how Krishna is everywhere.
Yes.
I was
Put the
speaking to one.
microphone closer to you.
Krishna is everywhere.
I was speaking to one gentleman and I was telling him, okay, God is everywhere. But he was saying, well, if that's true, then God is also in the stool in the street. So why don't we worship the stool in the street? So I was just wondering how you'd answer the question.
Yes. See, God is everywhere, but everywhere is not God. God is in everything, but everything is not God. His energy is there. Okay? It's like we worship, I gave that example earlier, we worship the H.H.B.A.Janardhan form of the Supreme Lord. But we don't worship this pillar, because this pillar also is from the energy of the Supreme Lord. So, there is, this is what I call Achincha Veda Veda Tattva, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are not Mayavadis that everything is one. Everything is the same. No, there is a distinction as well. There is a good and bad. There's a heat and there is cold, even though both energies from Krishna. So, these other elements, even though they're material energy coming from Krishna, is still, according to the Shastras, there are certain descriptions that Krishna can be worshipped. You understand? And there are certain things that, even though they're part and parcel of Krishna, you're also part and parcel of Krishna. Prabhupada says, you're also Krishna. A small Krishna. But there's a big Krishna. We worship that big Krishna. So we don't worship the table, we worship the H.H.B.A.Janardhan form of the Lord. Even though the H.H.B.A.Janardhan form of the Lord materially is made of these different elements, but according to the Shastras, they are molded and made in such a way, and we also ask the Lord to come there, to be present there. That's why we worship the Supreme Lord in this H.H.B.A.Janardhan form, who is none other than the Supreme Lord. So we don't worship the stool. We know the stool is smelly. Krishna is not smelly. Krishna is the most fragrant. You know, H.H.B.A.Janardhan is the incarnation of Krishna. His fragrance is from here to Delhi. And when he passes stool, that is the smell. You can also smell that fragrance because he's a Supreme Lord. Anything from the Supreme Lord. But we are not. We cannot worship our own stool. No. He gave this example, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in that pastimes with Mother Sachi, that eating the pots, right? He says, there is no difference. This is also material elements. There is no, this material energy, not different than Krishna. I will eat this. He says, no, you don't eat this. This is dirty. There is a distinction. Just to show us, to teach us this one and difference, the philosophy. So you tell this. This is the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who solves all the differences.
Karma Mimamsa. It's called Karma Mimamsa.
Karma Mimamsa. Also, Lord Krishna also he says why you have to worship Indra. Why you have to worship Indra? Indra will shower the rain, whether you do your work or not. This is the work of Indra. Whether you worship Govardhan Hill. So it's very important to understand this philosophy, this Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. You can be able to convince anyone who has a little bit of sense of understanding, if you understand this philosophy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why we said, yes, the Lord has a form and He does not have a form. We don't absolutely disregard that God doesn't have a form. We accept that there's a form and He does not have a form. Now the Mayavadis are completely different. They only accept that God doesn't have a form. They don't accept that God has a form. If you are a person, I guarantee that you did not come from nothing. You came from another person also. And then you go person, 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 and then one Supreme Person. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. He is the Supreme amongst the unlimited living beings. So you tell him like this. Okay? Okay, one last question. We can join a little bit more of the kirtan. You have a question? Okay. Let him go ahead. You'll be the last. You'll be the last. Go ahead. You last.
Earlier, Maharaj, you mentioned that we should take advantage of chanting Hare Krishna in Vrindavan.
Yes.
You also mentioned that Krishna in his form is not different. And Srila Prabhupada always giving a statement that Krishna and his name is not different.
Yes.
And I want to have that meditation, so can you elaborate or explain more so I can be enlightened of Krishna and his name is not different?
Well, you have to be attentive while chanting. Try to hear the syllables of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Meditate on the Supreme Lord through His holy name. This is the beginning. The beginning is that there's the sound vibration actually should enter into your ear and goes into your heart. Don't let your mind go here and there and anywhere, all over the universe while chanting. This is the initial stage. Ultimately, Krishna will reveal Himself to you. You'll be able to understand and realize the name and the personality, Krishna, non-different. And started to understand and be able to relish Nama Guna Rupa Lila. the form of the Supreme Lord starts to manifest. His qualities, His pastimes. This will come. But in the beginning, I remember, and still try to as much as possible, Mahamantra means Mahamantra. No one more Hare Krishna or one less Krishna, or one Ram and less Ram, or one more Hare or less Hare. That's why in the beginning I had the mantra card with me. Because you have to train your mind that you're actually chanting the whole 16 words. I've seen devotees, I've heard devotees, even sannyasis, after many, many years of chanting, they think that they're chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but they're not. Because Mahamantra means that mantra, no less, no more. And some of them, they chant more, one Hare or one Ram or one Krishna, and sometimes less Hare, one less Ram or less. That's not Mahamantra. That means you're not chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You have to be careful in this. Prabhupada says, chant in front of Tulsi Devi or deities. If you have deities at home, Gornitai. It's like in Russia, almost every devotee has a Gornitai. I've been there many times, and Gornitai is like everywhere. Most magnanimous brothers. Or a picture of the deities of Krishna Balaram or your favorite deity. If you chant and then, you know, it's like... But eventually Krishna will appear, as Prabhupada says. He'll be right there in front of you when you purify your chanting. Don't lose patience. Be as eager and enthusiastic as ever, even though you're not able to concentrate or be attentive while chanting. Always be this focus. Even before chanting, you have to think that I have to be attentive. Not like only attentive while chanting. Even before the start of chanting, you have to meditate that, yes, I have to be focused. Try to attend some japa retreat seminars whenever you can. It's available. If you cannot, it's too expensive to come every time in Vrindavan or Germany or anywhere. Hear the tapes, because there's some techniques there. They you know, they're very become expert in chanting, that they know the formula how to. That's not the only way, but they know how. You know, that just from reading, also from the books of the Acharyas, is given how we can concentrate on the holy name and increase our taste for chanting the holy name. You try to get those tapes, they're available even online, or you can buy them. But the best is to chant with devotees. Chant alone, you fall asleep or you'll be in Maya. That's for sure. Unless you're like Haridas Thakur. Then you can chant solitary, and even the prostitute will come and you'll not be bothered. Right now, because when you chant alone, it's you and your mind. And your mind will defeat you. Guaranteed. Because the mind is not trained up yet. But when you're with the devotees and you see devotees, how enthusiastic they are in chanting, you get infected. You get infected. Try not to be anxious to finish your rounds. You should be anxious to hear your rounds. You see the difference? You should be anxious to that, so that even this just one mantra, I should be attentive. What to say of the 108 mantras? Just one mantra. This mantra alone, I have to be very, very attentive. Then the next mantra, I have to be very attentive. Then the next mantra, I have to be attentive. Then soon enough, you're not even noticing, you finish one round. Being attentive. Instead, oh, okay, I have 15 more rounds to do. Oh, 13 rounds to do. Then you're attentive to your counting the rounds, how many is left, not in the Maha Mantra. You understand? So the focus is on the holy name, not on how many rounds you're chanting, or how many more rounds to chant, or what you're gonna do. I mentioned this earlier. When you chant, you don't even think of what service you're gonna do for Krishna on that day. That is inattentive. To think of something else, what you're gonna do for Krishna besides chanting, is inattentive also. Always be eager and enthusiastic in chanting. Don't say, oh no, I have to finish my rounds again. This is gonna be a big yagya. No way. Here we go again. No. Should be enthusiastic. And it comes the night before. When you sleep, you should be meditating already. Tomorrow I'm gonna chant, I'm gonna offer, because chanting means seva towards the Supreme Lord, and chanting means offering to the Supreme Lord. So tomorrow I'm gonna be sure, I'm gonna make very wonderful offerings towards the Supreme Lord. And that is your chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Just on the point of H.H.B.A.Janardhan tattva, if we struggle to understand it, how can we expect, like when we meet people on the street who've never even heard of Krishna or anything like that, how can we expect them to understand it when we explain our philosophy like that?
It's not so difficult to understand this H.H.B.A.Janardhan tattva. Prabhupada gave many examples. You know, many examples. You just have to read his books. You'll understand it. It's not the sunshine, it's not the sun. But without the sunshine, there is no sun also. Because they're always together. But the sunshine coming into your room, it's not that the sun comes into your room. The sun is still there. Heat and fire, this is the nature of, heat and light is the nature of fire. It's inseparable. Whenever there is, we can tell also whenever there is a smoke, there is a fire. But the smoke is not the fire. So many examples Prabhupada gave, especially he's using the sun for the H.H.B.A.Janardhan tattva philosophy. The sun, in so many analogies. Give the example also, yes, we are also part and parcels of Krishna, so just by understanding also similarly the drop of ocean, you can understand the nature of the ocean, salty, but that drop of the ocean is always a molecule. Even when you put it back to the ocean, it didn't become the whole ocean. It's still a molecule there. So we are also part and parcels of Krishna. So we have the same nature of Krishna, Satchidananda. But Krishna is unlimited and we are small, Anu and Bibhu. So this, like this. Where are you from, Prabhu?
Wales also.
Wales. Yeah. How many times have you been in India?
This is the first.
First time? Welcome to England. Welcome to Vrindavan. How do you like Vrindavan?
It's great.
So Vrindavan is in your heart. Vrindavan is the heart. The heart is Vrindavan. So carry this mood of Vrindavan. You'll never get this mood anywhere else. Immediately as soon as you step outside of Vrindavan, it's a different mood already. So Prabhupada says, he says, I never left Vrindavan, even if he was in New York, because he understands the mood. Actually, the mood of Vrindavan is that of, like the Vrijabasis, selfless, unmotivated, only for the pleasure of Krishna. That's Vrindavan. Okay? So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki